Hi, we're here at the 2019 Milwaukee Muskie Expo. I'm here with Tim from Mancave Bait Company. I didn't even screw that up.
MCBC for short.
MCBC, all right. So, Tim, when I asked you what you want to talk about, you said, let's talk about some baits that will run shallow. I mean, there's a lot of tails in this show. You've got a lot of tails in your wall, but a lot of times guys, they switch to a spinnerbait when it gets weedy, but you said you don't need to. So tell me about these baits.
Well, these are two bait designs that I put together to fish specifically in heavy weed cover.
Okay.
Weeds, as the season goes up, tend to bloom and actually cover the surface.
Okay.
But you still have a good wall of water, open water, below that open cover or canopy, okay? This is one bait that I designed. I called the Grunt. It's about 11 inches, it's 2 ounces of weight, and what I do with this bait is I'll cast it into that heavy mat and I'll let it sink completely through it.
Really?
Then I slow roll it back and just kind of jig pop it and slow roll it back and jig pop it.
And that'll rip the weeds off?
No, very little, minimal weed hookup, okay?
Okay, good. So
I'm using one real heavy-duty single hook through the grub body on it.
Okay.
It's just a great bait, very effective pattern, working through heavy weed
It sounds like you're working kind of slow. You're not burning over the tops. You're working slow and working through
This is for working slow and through the weeds.
Okay.
And I've found that if I'm on a wind pattern for several days, the more the wind blows into that weed bay, the further the fish get pushed up because they're chasing their forage.
Right.
So you want to get in there with all that
You don't want to be using a big heavy bait and pitching the edge.
A lot of treble hooks or that, okay? You want to get in deep where they're hanging out. It would be the same thing with the reeds. Any big reed vast area or that. You want something you can pitch deep into those reeds.
You want to get in the stuff and pull fish
slow
out
work
of the
it
stuff.
back.
Now
Exactly.
you're holding a single blade. I've got a double blade. Tell me a bit about this guy real quick.
This is a model I call the Club. It's 11 inches, 3 ounces, and it's got dual Indiana blades on it. If you look at the design, I put 2 single hooks on it, one through the grub and then another wide gap hanging outside of it, okay? This one, I'll get parallel to a weed flat or a weed bed, okay? I'll cast this thing out and I'll count it down. I use it as a countdown lure. So a lot of the flowages I fish, the weed line stops at about 7 feet. So I'll get in that 7-foot sweet spot, cast this thing out, count it down about 4 or 5 seconds, and slow roll it back on the edge of that weed flat.
So in other words, when you're slow rolling, you're running just over the tops of those low weeds.
Down low, exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Or if you're in a sandgrass condition, sometimes mid-lake flat will be 5-6 feet. You'll get a lot of sandgrass on it. This is another one where I'll get right over the top of that sandgrass and slow roll it back.
All right.
Real effective patterns, real effective baits to use in those type of conditions.
Some good stuff, Tim. If I wasn't able to come to the show today to check out the baits, where would I go?
Take a look at Mancave Bait Company. You've got to spell out company.com. Okay.
All right.
And I have a website set up with my product. I do custom color combinations.
Nice.
Everybody wants their own. And I don't charge extra for that.
All right.
I put the skirt material together. I dye the stuff.
Figure out what you want.
Figure out
Get
what you want.
Contact,
Exactly.
You'll build it. All right, Tim, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. Nice meeting you.